or deflate? That is the question. Patriots under the microscope once again heading into the big game, but it's just a bunch of hot air. A full changeover in the front office and on the sidelines for the Jets. Will it be enough to get them off the ground? Or even out of the hangar, for that matter? And the Bulls continue their midseason slide. Thunder and Cavs on the rise. A critical time for teams with high expectations going into the season. We'll take a closer look into what's happening in the NBA. All that plus headlines and stories from all around. I'm Radio Hondo, and this is the Flashback. Hello, everyone, and a happy Thursday to you on the Flashback. I'm Radio Hondo. We are just 9 days away from the big game. That's right, Super Bowl Sunday, Glendale, Arizona. Plenty of controversy heading into the game, stories and headlines going on as well. We are going to go over all of the news in just a moment. I do hope you are checking us out from our new website launched last week. If not, I have the website address on the YouTube video, so you can type that into your browser. It's mobile-friendly as well, and you can email us right from the front page, as well as take a look around the site. We have headlines on there that are updated daily, a blog where I share some thoughts, and an archive of all of our shows as well. All right, let's get to some of those headlines. First up on the headlines, get right into the Jets talk. They have gone into full change mode. They are on their third general manager now since 2012 with the introduction of Mike McCagnon, if that's how you pronounce his name, McCagnon. Todd Bowles was also formally introduced as the head coach, as well as Chan Gailey, who comes in as the new offensive coordinator, while Casey Rogers is expected to become the defensive coordinator in New York for the Jets. Huge transformation in the front office and on the sidelines. Now, in terms of personnel, is that where we're going to see some changes? Because this is obviously a full-on overhaul of what the Jets have going on there right now with what Rex Ryan had established. Everybody's out, new faces in there. Defensive-oriented as well, still just like the Rex Ryan era with Todd Bowles taking over as head coach. But now are we going to see some changes in the personnel to allow him in order to succeed, really, especially on the offensive side. Chan Gailey has come in. He's had some success with some, not all-star, all-pro, style quarterbacks there. So he may be able to find some success there, but obviously they are still in a huge problem with the quarterback situation. But a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. The team has a projected $40 million in cap space, and they will be forced to spend a large portion of that. Now, they do have to spend a large portion of that because they have to meet the NFL's 4-year spending compliance, which says that 89% of the revenue or what have you has to be spent. You have to take up 89% of the cap space or what have you in a 4-year period. So the Jets will definitely have to spend money. Who they're going to spend it on is the other question. They've already wasted a draft pick on Geno Smith in the past, and now they may have to do that once again. And with not a very strong quarterback class coming out this year, outside of Mariota, who has question marks all over, Jameis Winston has question marks all over. Who are you going to anyway? Might be some diamonds in the rough there. Joe Flacco. You look at him; he came out of Delaware. You look at Kurt Warner. What was that? Iowa State or something? Not even Iowa State. It was Northern Iowa. So there are some in there. You have to find them, and you have to be patient. Do the Jets have the time to be patient, and will they be able to find those diamonds? That's the question. But $40 million in cap space, and they're going to be spending a lot of that, and a lot of changes. We've already seen that they're going all in terms of trying to flip this thing back around in New York. So we'll see what happens. Third general manager, as we said, since 2012 with Mike McCagnon in charge now, and Todd Bowles, the head man, calling the plays on the sidelines. All right, former Cleveland Browns CEO Joe Boehner may not have been able to correctly predict what his team was going to do in 2014 and try to fix it ahead of time, but apparently he's pretty good at predicting everything else in terms of the NFL. In a tweet back in September, Banner posted, quote, predictions, Pats versus Seahawks in Super Bowl, Bears disappoint, many think they could win division, not me. Harbaugh is not the Niners coach in 15. Well, he did get that pretty much down pat with the prediction there, so you got to give him some credit there. However, what he was able to do or not able to do in Cleveland is the bigger concern, and that is why he is not the CEO there anymore. So, Joe Boehner, great job on the predictions. Not such a great job on actually fixing your own team. And, of course, no word whether Johnny Manziel has sought out Boehner for any insight into his future. And it's not looking good. Speaking of murky futures, it was first reported that the Colts running back Trent Richardson did not travel to the AFC Championship game in Foxborough due to personal reasons. Turns out the running back was not only deactivated by the team, but suspended as well for the game. Richardson missed a walkthrough before the game, later claimed it was because of a family emergency. So he ended up getting deactivated from the squad, did not travel to Foxborough for that game against the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. The former Alabama running back played in 38 college games, check this out, in his 3-year career, and he had over 3,100 yards. He's been in the NFL now for 3 years. He's played in 46 games with 2 teams, the Browns and now the Colts. You know how much he's gained in those 3 years? A little over 2,000 yards. And to make matters worse, 950 of them came in his rookie season. This has been a collapse of gigantic proportions. Meanwhile, you have another former Alabama running back who actually played with Richardson, that being Mark Ingram, Mark Ingram Jr., the Heisman Trophy winner. He's looking like he's turning his career on. His career's ticking up. He's having more success over with the Saints. They're giving him the ball more. He had a great season last year and looks like he's going to be making out pretty well in free agency. So he's gotten things under control out of a slow start. Richardson got off to a hot start there in Cleveland and now has been falling off the charts. What a bust this has ended up to be. Trent Richardson, I hope you get things in order and get things in line, but I don't think you have a future with the Colts. And we're going to find out shortly if they're going to try to move him or what the possibilities are. But like we said, Trent Richardson not on the upward. He's heading up the downward staircase. That's what he's trying to do, and he's getting caught at the bottom. So Richardson missed that walkthrough, was deactivated by the team, and his future is looking very questionable there in Indianapolis and quite questionable in the NFL when you think about it. In the NFL right now, running backs, they're a dime a dozen. They are a dime a dozen. There's a reason why there are so many teams that have optioned to go with this running back by committee style, which, by the way, really kind of started with the Patriots as we know it today. And the running back by committee style has a lot of running backs on the market. It devalues them. It increases the value of the every down backs, which are far and in between. We've talked about it before. Charles, McCoy, Lynch. There are not very many backs that are every down backs. And Lynch really, as a receiver, he's pretty decent as a receiver, but he's not a full complement receiver like a McCoy is. So, or a Charles for that matter. So you really don't have a lot of those backs out there. And that brings down the value for the plethora of other running backs who are just sitting out there with one specialty here, one specialty there. They can help teams, but they're not bringing in big money by NFL standards. I'll still take the money that they're bringing in, but by NFL standards, their value is diminished. And it's really hard to find room on a roster for a running back like Trent Richardson, who's been downtrending for so long. All right, one final headline, NBA. Kobe Bryant says he'll continue to try to entice Rajon Rondo into signing with the Lakers, saying that until Rondo signs an extension, he's not giving up. Now, Rondo, is he even thinking about this seriously? And what difference would it make if Rondo decided to go to the Lakers? I mean, Bryant clearly wants someone on the team that can take some pressure off of him, but at the same time, also have an additional person who's going to be dishing him the ball so that he can continue to throw it up 30 times a game at a 30% clip, or whatever those horrendous statistics are. Bryant, you have had some amazing years. You've done some great things in the NBA. You've won your titles. You've won your MVPs. You have your scoring. I believe we are at that time right now, Kobe, where it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter who's around you. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So, Bryant, your competitive spirit's always there, but Rondo is not coming to LA, and even if he did, which he shouldn't want to, because you have one star that's going to be there for maybe another year in Kobe. And then what is the state of the rest of the team? The Dallas Mavericks have been continuing to grow and build and change pieces out and have success. Rondo being a part of that, of course. So why would he want to leave a Dallas to go to LA? Besides, obviously, the big market size. But Dallas is a big market, although it's not, basketball driven. So why would he want to do that? I think the campaign has just about failed and died out, Kobe. And I think the career might be just about done, too. Commend you for all the years that you put in. Again, tremendous career, but Rondo is not going to L.A., So that's going to wrap up our headlines. One of the big headlines, though, getting into things, was deflation, of course. We talked about deflation on the Flashback in our previous episode. We just talked about it real lightly just because it seemed so crazy. So crazy. But now word is out. I heard late last night, late Tuesday, Chris Mortensen reports the NFL has looked into it. They haven't come down with a ruling yet, but they have found that 11 of the 12 balls used in the Patriots were, in fact, underinflated by 2 PSI per ball. 2 pounds of pressure per square inch, PSI per square inch. 2 pounds per square inch of pressure per ball. Now, the standard in the league is that they are set to 12.5 to 13.5 PSI. I've been looking all around to find out what, in fact, was the weight of these balls, because they say 2 PSI per ball. Okay, so is that 2 PSI off the 13.5? Is that 2 PSI off the 12.5? Because that, again, makes a big difference. Are we dealing with a 10.5 ball, an 11-pound ball, an 11.5? Those are all under. Those are all under, and in accordance to the high end of the 13.5 PSI, would all be in that 2 mark, that 2-pound mark. The 10.5 obviously being on the lower end of the 12.5. So, what actually was the weight of these balls? And then again, why was nothing said during the game? The refs are checking the balls. They can tell whether it's underinflated by that much, if it's in fact 2 balls. So why were the refs not doing anything? They're allowed to take the balls out of play if they're under regulation. They're allowed to say something to the coaching staff. Why was nothing done on the field? So obviously, they didn't think it was a huge matter. But yet, it's a huge matter now. It's getting to be a bigger matter. And just one more note on this deflation talk. And I'm actually going to talk about it more. But another note on this deflation talk before we go any further. Stop calling it Deflate-gate. Do we have to put gate on everything? Have we lost all imagination? I mean, if we're gonna over-examine something that doesn't even need to be examined, shouldn't we at least come up with a more responsive name, a more genuine name, a more imaginative name than just Deflate-gate? I mean, we've been talking about this gate, that gate, every gate, front gate, back gate, since the 1970s, since Watergate. Come on. Spygate. Gosh. Deflate-gate? Come on. Let's get something else in there. Deflate-gate? That's the last. You're not going to hear me say Deflate-gate over and over and over again, except for the last 20 seconds. But let's just say, you want to call it the Deflate game? You want to call it, the hot air incident? Whatever. Just stop with all the gating everything. It's ridiculous. All right. So here's the thing, too. 11 of the 12 balls were underinflated. So was the one ball that wasn't underinflated, was that marked by any specialty? Because the kickers have their separate set of balls. They obviously want overinflation. It helps carry the ball further. But the one ball that wasn't, well, I mean, it just, there's still a lot of questions to be answered in this. And of course, one question that it doesn't answer, well, it doesn't explain why LeGarrette Blount was able to run for 140 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. Doesn't explain that. Colts tight end Dwayne Allen says it's been all blown out of proportion. He tweeted late Tuesday, it's, quote, not a story. They could have played with soap for balls and beat us. Simply the better team. We have to continue to build. So he gets it. He gets it. It's not a big deal. Dwayne Allen understands. Now, included in the Chris Mortensen report was a finding by Adam Schefter, also of ESPN, that said that the Colts were first informed the NFL of the concerns about Pats using underinflated balls during the regular season game that they played against each other back in November. And if that's the case, then why didn't we hear about it then? Why wasn't it an issue then? Why hasn't it been continually looked upon? Why has the NFL not done anything about this? If this was, again, a violation of NFL rules regarding proper attire, if Bill Belichick's hoodie wasn't a Patriots logo hoodie, if he was wearing a hoodie that had the picture of a tie on it instead of the Patriots logo, fine right away. Fine would have probably been issued even before the game was over. And now we're talking about deflated balls that may have been around since November, and nothing was said or done about it. Raises a lot more questions than it answers. Raises more questions on what the NFL policy and what the NFL does about these things and what they don't do than it does about the Patriots and their football team. Because the game was 45-7. The other game was, in November, was 41-20. And it wasn't even that close. So again, why are we just hearing about this now? Back in November, Jonas Gray ran for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. But I guess that was due to deflated footballs, apparently. And a former NFL referee also said that it's not an issue, mentioning again that he can throw the ball out if he has any questions about it. And a lot of people are chiming in on this. Former NFL quarterback Matt Leinart commented that every team tampers with footballs. Ask any quarterback in the league is what he said. So this is nothing new. It's like a pitcher working on the baseball before taking the mound. The referees take the balls, they examine them, they weigh them, they do their checks, they give them back 2 hours before the game, just like they did in this game. And in that time, the players are welcome to do whatever they want with the ball. work it in a little bit. There's a lot of logos and stuff that get tacked on all these footballs. Might help to lose grips. These fancy, shiny logos. And just like a pitcher, he gets the box of balls before the game starts, before he takes the mound, works them in a little bit. Obviously, that's the time where, you're not supposed to be scuffing the ball, but that happens sometimes, and those balls get chucked. You see it in baseball all the time. Umpire, foul ball goes off the bat weird, may jar a little bit of a string or something. And what does the umpire do? He throws it away. Just throws it away and grabs another one. Not a big deal. Another interesting comment I heard is, why in the first place did the NFL requiring the teams themselves to provide the footballs? Why doesn't the NFL provide the football for every game? Give them a little bit more regulation on the ball. It'd give a fairer playing field. Right now, each team has their own balls that they play with. So there's another issue. Why hasn't that been covered for years and years? How ridiculous is that? This is a bring-your-own-ball league, apparently. The BYOB NFL. Inflated or underinflated, doesn't matter. And, again, nothing new on the big stage as well. Super Bowl winning quarterback Brad Johnson admitted years ago, after his Super Bowl win, that he actually paid someone $7,500 to scuff up and break in the 100 footballs used to beat the Oakland Raiders, used in the Super Bowl to beat the Raiders. That was a game where we saw 6 interceptions. One of them was thrown by Johnson himself, and then the 5 others were thrown by the Raiders quarterback, Rich Gannon. Another Delaware guy, Rich Gannon. So it's nothing new. It happens apparently all the time. And if the NFL really cared about it, then they would be providing the footballs themselves. They would be providing the footballs themselves. They would have an NFL ball boy who carries the ball for both of the teams. And that way it can only get back to one person. It only comes back to one person. Well, it had to be a group of people. The referees and the ball boy. Those would be the only 2 people that could have any control over it. It's real simple, NFL. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Okay, Thursday edition, Super Bowl coming up, so we have a lot to talk about, obviously, with some changing landscapes of the NFL, as well as some NBA talk. Don't forget, you can always email me right on our homepage, right here on the new website if you're on it. If you're not on it, take a look at the YouTube. I have it put up right there. Throw that address into your browser. Head to our website, take a look, go through any episode that you want at any time. It's all right there. There's an archive page as well, a blog, a daily blog, headlines that I put up each day, and you can email us directly from the homepage while you're listening to the show. It's all right there. Just take a look at the video. We have the address up, radiohondo.wix.com/radiohondo. So take a look and explore around and, be a part of the show. Also have some listener feedback that came in via email. I'm going to address some of those questions later on. They concern the Super Bowl and this exciting matchup we have between Seattle and New England coming up in about 9 days. 9 days away. Can you believe it, folks? It's wow. I am really looking forward to this one. 2 amazing games last weekend, especially that Seahawks game versus the Green Bay Packers, and the Packers are still reeling from that. That was a game in which some people are saying the Packers gave it away. Others are saying Seattle was giving it away and then finally decided to play their game plan. That's the argument side that I'm on. One of the backs or defensive players for Green Bay said, we were beating them up all day. There's no doubt that we were the better team. You weren't the better team. You just had better field position for a while, and Seattle wasn't playing their game plan. They weren't putting their game plan into fruition. Once they put their game plan in, away went your field position. Away went the points, the effectiveness of the offense. It's amazing what happens when you're dealing with a short field versus a long field. So Seattle had that game all around on all facets. But for some reason in that first half, they did not decide to run the ball enough. And it cost them. Interceptions, gave Green Bay great field position. Luckily, they did get a break or two. Yes, Seattle did get a break or two. But I tell you what, they win that game 8 or 9 out of 10 times. 8 or 9 out of 10 times, Seattle's winning that game. So they did get a break here, but you know what? That's football, man. That's football. Keep playing D. Keep playing defense. I didn't see you stopping that run towards down the stretch. I saw a team that gave up, 19 points or, 15 points? 15 points in less than 4 minutes? Doesn't sound like you were kicking their butt all day. Kicking their butt all day is 60 minutes of kicking butt, not 56. So congrats to Seattle. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on, get into some of the other facets going around with Media Day coming up. Pro Bowl action, probably not going to get into that. And NBA news, of course, we do have some rising teams mid-season right now, some slumping teams as well. So stick around, segment 2. We're going to get into all of that. Check it out right here. It's the Flashback with Radio Hondo.